Alrighty, Poor Things movie uh, thoughts. Because it's not much of a review, I guess. More of just me saying what I liked about the film. So what I liked about it, everything. I loved it. Found it funny. I did laugh a lot in this film. I'm probably the person laughing the most at a bunch of random scenes. It just has a lot of I love the humor in it, how the humor is executed in the film. I love the set piece, the set design, how it looks like a stage, and the stages, it looks sort of like fairy tale, cartoony looking. I like that part of it. Let's put this. There we go. So you guys can hear me better. What else I liked about it? Fucking the costume, like even how they're dressed, the funny the way the characters speak, because she's learning, right? She commits suicide. This woman we see in the very beginning, a woman jump from a bridge. We learn that that's her, right? That's Bella Baxter, whose original name is Victoria. And how do you call she had a baby and she killed herself, and the doctor, he William Dafoe, right? The character built by William Dafoe, so I guess Mr. Baxter, Dr. Baxter. He's like a surgeon, professor type guy who was abused by his father as a child, and it's like mentioned throughout the film, his father's cruelty. But yeah, what else about it? Fucking back to Baxter, back to Bella Baxter. Fucking yeah. So he finds her corpse. He comes into acquirance of her corpse, and his idea. And I like how he says this to, oh my god, whatever that gentleman's name was, I forgot. He says that to him in a nonchalant way. The idea just made sense to take the baby head and not put it in the grown person's head. He swapped their brains, right? He took out her brain, he took the fetus brain, and he put the fetus brain into, what do you call, put the fetus brain into the woman, right? And he tells her towards the end of the film, because she mentions to him, like, what's the true story of me, because I'm learning that I'm not, who I am fully. And she fucking he tells her, and I love that he's honest, he doesn't bullshit her, he's just straight up with it. Yeah, so I guess you're like the mom and the daughter, but you're kind of not both at the same time. He explains that to her, and he shows her like the manuscripts, and there's a scene where she's talking to the general, right? We'll just call him that, because that, like, Victoria's husband, the general, that we see in a later, and like, I like that the film structure, like, kind of different, how do you call, like acts, and some of the acts have title cards and others don't, I guess. I guess it depends how you see the film, right? London, that's the whole London act, and then there's Alexandria, fucking, for Alexandria, I thought they said Athens, but I guess they didn't. Because she sees the guy on the boat, he has a bird, and he kills the bird, but he's facing away, and when he turns around, he sees her, and he's, like, shocked. Oh, shit. Yeah, and then he throws the bird overboard, and, like, oh, fuck. Yeah, that was me, I did that. What was I thinking about? And, yeah, she tells the general, because he's got the papers, right, and she says to him, like, I'll, when she's explained to him, I'm not gonna stay in this house, and I'm not gonna let you, like, fucking cut my clitoris off and and make me like a slave and put a baby in me, of all things. And no, that's not happening. I'm not gonna have my free will. I'm gonna have my agency. I'm gonna do as I please. But she tells him, I'll send you the manuscripts though. They're actually quite, like, a little side note, they're actually quite interesting. You may want to see the manuscript of, like, and it's very detailed in how he came out. I took the head out, I took the brain out, put the baby brain, I put it in your head where your other brain was, took that shit out, put the baby brain in there, and then I start raising you. Oh, it's just hilarious. Let's try to go back to the beginning here. So yeah, the film opens up with, like, that whole suicide scene. At least we see Bella, right? And the trailer mentions this. I think the trailer, I think I might have seen a snippet of it, and it looks like it's like a woman learning things, and we see that, okay, yeah, so there's Bella, and she's learning, like, how to be a person. I wonder if people they see this film like a person with disabilities, if that maybe they were a little less behind before and they kind of came up into like, they matured, or they had maybe less severity in their disability later in life, if they can relate to this film. And this film can be like a cautionary a cautionary analysis, that even the kind of right phrasing for it. It's interesting. I like the whole dynamic that we see her progress, and in the beginning it's black and white. We went like Sephora type black and white. There's the void of color, right? There's no color, and as the film progressed, we gradually, eventually, we get color, and I guess that's to show like her progression of her how do you call of her evolution, of her smartness, how she's becoming more familiar with herself, and you know, kind of things like that. That Baxter, that's what his name was. Was it Baxter? Dexter? Something like that. There's this guy, and he's like a repeating character throughout, and he's sort of he takes Bella, he takes advantage of Bella. He gets introduced like so the assistant guy, whatever his name was, he wants Mr. William Dafoe's character says, "Oh, I see the way you look at her. Do you like her? Do you want to marry her?" And he says yes, right? Because he was falling fond of her, because he's hired by William Dafoe to like take notes, to study her, to see the progression that she makes, and he picks him specifically because he wrote because he's in the class that he teaches, and he wrote a paper, and the paper, I guess, maybe admired him, or like it gave him like he judged by the paper. This is a person that probably was be on the par with me, see the same vision as me, I guess, or maybe easy to manipulate, because even he says this later when they're walking. Harriman and Bella are walking down this park that they frequent. So I guess whatever park this is, they go to this park every so often in the film, and they're walking down and fucking how do you call. He mentions to Bella that even I fell under his charming spell. Like, right, he kind of put me made me feel so sad and fun. I got very fond of him, and so like I knew the truth, but even I was keeping the lie. Like, yeah, keep the lie under wraps, and it was funny. But what else? Where was I with this? Sometime in the beginning. These are gonna be a really rambling. And if you bars listen to these videos, you already know, right? What did I like? What's good to that? I like that ship scene when he puts her on the boat. They're in the hotel in Lisbon, and he brings this case open because she does what she wants, right? She does as she pleases. And one thing that happened, I love how she calls it sex, is called fast jumping or something. She has her own little term for it, right? Because she kind of it comes at the moment, the spur of the moment, describe what you're doing, and she's, I'm giving myself happy, right? She masturbates. She's, I'm making myself happy. I'm giving myself pleasure. I'm making myself happy. Sex, rapid movements, thrusting, fast jumping. Like, we were just jumping on each other's bodies and shit. And she mentions that she was out and about, and she had this. It was when she was playing chess. And he's funny. He's like, "How can you not know what chess is? But then you know this other fucking word. It's so weird, right? Because she's afraid of the professor, so she has a kind of a different vernacular." What was I thinking of? Oh my god, what was I thinking of? I keep losing my train of thought. Let me try to get it in back. Oh yeah. So the whole thing, right? The fucking, what scene was it? She allows a man to touch her inner thighs and bite her thighs, maybe, you know, get her off too. And this kind of throws this Daxter guy into a fucking frenzy. Like, he runs downstairs at this bar table and he bangs his head on the table, and then the guy gives him a drink. And then she comes back and she's like, what's the problem? What's the matter? and he starts crying. You know, he tells her like, what did you do? Like, and that's when she explains, oh, this is what I did. I went out, I had a little fun here, and I decided to get off, and this guy did it for me. It was magical. And he, that sends him, because he talks, I guess I don't know, he's funny, because even she brings up, like, I mean, we're not dating, right? We're just, like, kind of this courtship, like a casual thing. I felt it was more a casual thing. It wasn't like we were married, dating to be married. But he got jealous. He got upset about this, and she brings up, like, this is weird. Why are you so upset about, yeah, but he got this case trunk thing, and he opens it, and he's like, "Get in," and you're like, "Okay, we got to take her somewhere, right?" That's the scene. That's why we're getting this scene here like this, and indeed, he does. He puts her on the boat, and I like when we're on the boat, we meet the two friends, and every time she meets somebody, they kind of like, I guess they give her some more insight into the world, how people work. When she goes on the boat, she befriends these two, this elderly lady and this American guy. And this American guy, I think they were having a debate one time. Her, the elder lady, and the guy debate, and I guess the American guy, not elderly, sorry, the American guy, he's as she described it, like maybe like cynical. I guess that'd be the word, cynical or scared or upset. Like the world is bad, right? The world is nihilism. I think that's the word for it. The world's just bad. People are just innately bad. We're just and we just the sooner you get over that, or the sooner you accept that, the easier life will be, right? And he takes her, when they go to Alexandria, they get off in the port to this cafe tower. I guess it's supposed to be like the Tower of Alexandria, like, or what was it, the Lighthouse of Alexandria, right? Maybe that's supposed to be referencing that famous structure that existed there. I don't think it exists anymore. Fucking she sees people and they're suffering. He tells her, look at that down there, there's like fetuses, and these people are so poor and they're just killing babies down there, and like, that's the world, Bella. Like, world's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's also bad shit. It's terrible. And so that guy kind of gave her the insight mind of how bad the world can be. But I like the scene where she's telling him, like, hey, you don't have to be sorry, because you just wanted to show me that the world isn't all peachy. There's some bad shit. And he tells her, no, I'm sorely sorry. I should really be sorry, because I wanted to hurt you. I like that admission of intent, right? No, I was intentionally doing that to be an asshole, by the way. I was just an ass. And he tells her that, that's why I took you down there. That's why I took you to see that suffering. I like that, that he said that to her. And I also like the scene, because she gives the money, right? Does how do you call her, Dexter, whatever his name is. Again, I forgot what his name was. But Felanius Dexter, let's call him that, right? Felanius Dexter. That guy, he's gambling and he's losing money before, but then he actually wins, but he was probably drinking a bit. He falls asleep. He's just on the bed. He's passed out. And she says, well, I'm going to give all this money to the poor people. And as she's got to leave the ship, the two guys by the ship, they tell her, hey, we're about to leave. We're about to disembark. And she explains the situation. Oh, I have this money. I want to give it to the poor people there. And they take advantage of her naivety, right? They kind of test it. And they're like, oh, well, we'll hand it to them. We'll give them that money. We'll make sure we'll see forth that money gets to them, to these poor people that you want to give it to. And she falls for it. She accepts it, right? Her naivety, and they take advantage of that, and she accepts it, and so they take that and they run with it, and she comes back, and I love this scene, like, so she tells him about the money, like, he tells her, hey, the money's gone, somebody's robbed us, inform the captain, and then she fesses up, no, it was me, I took the money, I went to go give it to the poor people of Alexandria, they really needed it, and there's this guy there, and he tells them, so you won't be needing the captain then, right, because it kind of resolved the issue. Oh, your wife, whatever the fuck, she took the money, so no issue, right? And he tells him, the fuck off. Like, he's very rude, nasty to him. He says, oh, okay, indeed, sir. Right? And I guess he said, I'm not going to make a fuss, because I'm going to go tell the captain, hey, this passenger, he's got no money. He can't pay the voyage. We got to have to boot him out. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, the captain comes back, and he's about to cuss again and, threaten to hit him and stuff. And then he sees the captain there, and he's an authoritative figure, and the captain tells him this, yeah, right? At Marseille, the port of Marseille, you gotta have to be kicked off the ship, and you cannot have this fancy food. You gotta be, privy to the rations, right? The rations of the ship. And this would be a nice segue to talk about the brothel in the Paris scene. But then we'll see. We'll try to recap what I liked in Lisbon besides the kind of the hotel. Because yeah, 'cause that's what she runs off to with Phineas Dexter to Lisbon, and that's like the first title card that we get, right? Is Lisbon. I love that before she goes. What's her name? Not her name, his name. Willem Dafoe's character, which she calls God. I guess maybe he calls himself God, and so hence why she calls him God. But how do you call? He actually sews some money into her, into like this jacket or blanket thing that she has. Right, he's like, I'm not gonna stop, and she tells him the plan. I'm gonna secretly run away with this person. You're not gonna stop me. If you try to do, you're gonna feel me a lot of hate. And I like that he just accepts it. You know what, actually, and this actually, maybe this is a good thing. You know what, you need to go out and learn and grow and experience the world. Yeah, okay. I like that he was objectifying it at first, but then he changed his mind. He said, actually, you know what, fuck it, you can go. And I love that when she grabs that cloth, and because they did that on her when she freaked out when she looked outside and saw people and she wanted to stop at the carriage. This is when they went to the park scene, the first park scene, and they put the chloroform rag on her nose. So she learned that, and so she uses it on the assistant guy, which I think is Yusuf. I forgot what his name is, the actor. I recognize the name on screen. I believe that's his name, Yusuf or something Yusuf. But she uses it on him when he wakes up. He sees Willem Dafoe on the ground, and he's just drinking, and he's like, "Wow, you let her go?" And she's like, "Listen, she'll be fine." she said that she gonna travel with this guy, and that she thinks he's bad. He's probably bad news for her, but she still want to go. I said, "Well, fuck that. Okay, you can go. Go ahead and go with him. Go ahead and go with him." This film is definitely rated R, and now that's the Lisbon scene. I guess I kind of recapped there. What else I liked? What else like before the Lisbon scene? What else happened in Lisbon? Her running around. I guess it's her testing the waters. There's an important scene that happens in Lisbon when she's in the hotel lobby with him, and fucking this woman calls her Victoria. This is the first time we learned of her actual name, and she tells her, "I'm not Victoria. I'm Bella Baxter. The fuck? I don't even know you." And that lady just leaves, but that guy, he was there to hear that, and so later in the film, we see him use that later against her, right? That can you remember that bit of information, Victoria? Before we leave to Lisbon, talk about the brothel scene, or scenes rather. I like the scene where they're dancing, where the music, and that's another thing that's cool with this film. The music sort of sets a nice tone of the oddness, the weirdness. Like, the music is fitting for the film as well. But I like when they're dancing and fucking, how do you call, let's put the air cold here so the phone doesn't overheat. Yeah, let's do that. Last time I filmed this review, I filmed it so long that the phone overheated. What was I thinking? I was thinking in my head. Yeah, I love the dance scene, how the way she dances to the beat and the awkwardness of the dance, and then he starts dancing. That was kind of a nice, cheeky scene. I like how they dance together, and everyone's sort of dancing more proper around them. They have like their own style, and they're just weird and eccentric with it, and they actually seem to have fun. But of course, it just kind of divulges into fighting and shit, because then like they're done dancing, he says, "Oh God, you're just as rambunctious, as spontaneous as me," and she's winking. He's like, "Why are you doing that?" And she's like, "Oh, well, because that guy over there he's winking at me. He's giving me the winks." And so he gets a pissed. He gets jealous. I guess that's what it is. He gets jealous. He's got some jealousy. He gets upset. That, hey, you're mine property. And I guess that's a theme throughout the film, of the woman being seen as property of a man, of belonging to him. Because she, like in the horror scene or the brothel scene, right? She becomes a whore, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm a whore. So what? The fuck? I had to make some money." How do you call? She mentions this to the assistant guy when she comes back to London to see God, right? To see Willem Dafoe's character before he dies, because he's dying. She tells him, "Hey, we're gonna get married. I gotta tell you that I was out when I was in Paris. I was whoring, for money and shit. I was fucking around. Is that okay with you? Because with you guys, so I guess with men, it doesn't seem like it's an okay thing. It's like a big issue if a woman's been fucking other men and stuff." And I think he he said like I was jealous, like I'm not the jealous of the time the men had with you, not anything else other than that. um and so yeah, but that was and but that, yeah, that's where am I on track now? Let's get to fucking, what is it, that the brothel scene. So the brothel scene is cool. Yeah, like they're sitting on the bench, they're in Paris, and he's Phileas Dexter is there, right? Because they both got kicked out, and he's all pissed and mopey, and he's like, "Fuck, like we're just destitute here." And there's a guy there's his dog, and the dog's sniffing him, and he tells the guy, "I'm gonna beat your fucking dog. I'm gonna kick your dog to death." And that was funny. I laughed at that, his anger at that. But she's wondering, and she sees this hotel, or she thinks it's a hotel, and she's a lady outside. She tells the lady, "Hey, is this a hotel here?" And we, us, the audience, we get through the dialogue that it's a brothel, but she doesn't know that yet, and she takes advantage of that naivety, I guess. The madam, right? And even later in the film, or later in that kind of in that storyline, the Paris chapter, the madam even brings up that how do you call that, Belle is perhaps maybe a little mental illness, or like mentally disabled, because of the way she speaks, and like I can throw you here and throw you over there. I can take advantage of you, right? And that's, I guess, another thing with the film. People are taking advantage of her naivety and stuff. But yeah, there's this guy that there's a scene where we see him naked, and he looks kind of gross and icky. He kind of looks like, ugh, I don't think I want to have sex with this person. And he like 3 pumps, right? He like lasts 3 pumps. He doesn't even warm her up at all, and she even tells him, you try to warm me up and get me ready to, before you penetrate me, some oral or something. No, it just goes straight for the kill, right? What was I thinking of? Fucking, yeah, she tells him 16. She tells him, go. She tells him, we're in the room 16, right? In French, whatever. I love that. That's another thing. I like when we get other languages like Portuguese and then French, and we don't translate it. We just have if you don't know the language, you don't know what the fuck they said. But she goes to room 16, and she does that. She has sex with this guy. She gets paid for it. She goes back to Phileas, and she's like, "Hey, I just and she gives him the Enclair, and he's like, "Oh, I just had some new enlightenment." And he's like, "Oh, you stole it?" You're like, "Oh my god, you're stealing now?" And she tells him, "No, I just fucked for some money. I just did that. I got some money for it, and now I'm like enlightened." I'm like, shit. It was really quick. It was terrible. And like earlier in the film, when Phileas and her are having wild sex in Lisbon in the hotel room, he tells her, "Oh, nobody could probably fuck you like I can. I'm probably the best you ever have, period." And she tells him this, like, remember you told me the whole thing in the hotel? Well, you know what I just did? I just tried out with this person, and it was terrible. It was absolutely horrible. It was like 3 pumps, and that was it. And it was done. And I got some money for it, but he gets upset with it, and he tells her that's the worst thing you can do, and he berates her, and she tells him, like, just flatly, "Well, you know what, I think it's settled that we cannot be a thing together, so I guess I'm gonna book it out." And so that now we have this arc where it's just her, and she's working at the brothel, and we'll get to like the sex partners in a bit, because I like the brothel, the women have to line up, and the men get to choose. And she questions the madam about this. She's like, "Well, what if the women get to choose? What if we can take our clients? Why do we have to line up, and then whoever picks us, we have to take them? Like, sometimes you don't really want to fuck them, or they're kind of icky." And she pulls her aside. And I like this thing the madam does when she bites the ear. She tells, "Oh, you have such luscious lobes. You know that?" "Oh, yeah." And she bites the ears, and then she's like, "Ooh, I'm sorry, I drew blood." But she has a baby in there. I think she mentioned, the reason, like, there's a reason why the girls don't get to choose the guy, and I guess because they fall in love with the client, or they're more likely to result in pregnancy or something like that. Because she explains to her something, and she shows a baby's there, and she's like, "See, this is why it's got to be this way, not that way. That's why." And so, but I like that she challenges. She doesn't just she's learning to like stick up for herself, right? To be more forthcoming, like Like, I don't, why do I have to settle for this bullshit? You know, kind of ordeal. Let's get to the sex partners. I like when she it's like having, they show like a sequence of the people she's fucking. I like the one guy when she's tied up and we're thinking like maybe he's thrusting in her from the bottom, but then we get the scene pan down, we see her just pubic region, right? And I love that she does, you know, pubic hair. But besides that, he's like rubbing himself against her leg. That was kind of funny. There's this big sweaty guy. He brings like a piece of meat, a sirloin steak, and he gives it to the madam, and she's like, oh, thank you, mercy. I guess that's the payment, you know, right? I'll give you the steak and let me fuck one of your girls. And he's like very like you know, kind of straight to the point with it. She's like, so shall we like talk or get to and he's just like, no, you know, turn around, pop you there, spread, I'm going in for the kill. I like the scene with the fodder. There's a dad who brings his kids, his 2 boys with them, and he's explaining before they have sex, hey, I want to teach them like kind of the ropes of like what to do, what to expect from this, and so I thought that was funny. I laughed at that, the whole giving an explanation type thing. And she tells the boy that one of the boys is putting down notes, the other one's just sitting there kind of like awkward, like I don't know if I don't really feel about having to watch this. And she gives the boys a pointer. She says, you know, hey, like if I put a thumb, one finger, the anus, or I just choke him, makes him come a little faster, I can get this over with, right? And she does that to dad. She chokes dad, and he finishes. I like that there's and then we kind of jump cut between some sexual partners, and there's one in particular gentleman that we learn later was a priest. And I guess you can tell by the scenes, you know, that he was like fucking her the best. Like the sex was very good, and then she tells him after the fact. You know, we see him putting on his priest uniform. She tells him after the fact, "Sir, you have been truly blessed by God." And in his face, he's like, it's not a compliment for him. He's just distraught. He has like this face of utter distraught, and like, I'm so disgusted myself. And he like kind of rushes quickly, you know, puts on his stuff and just quickly like leaves the premises. He just gets out of there. What else? I like that she befriends a particular girl, one of the other prostitute workers within the sex club. And we find later, you know, that they're growing very fond of each other. She'll go to like this, I guess, I don't know if she's enrolled in school in Paris, or she'll just go, maybe it's like a free lecture. You can go in and see people getting, you know, cutting up cadavers and stuff, because it reminds her of home. Because God, William Dafoe's character, he does this, right? He has a room in his mansion in his house where he dissects people and does surgeries and experiments on them. Oh, and there's well, let me sidetrack here with this little excerpt, because so we have a scene where Bella is in that same room, and the assistant guy is there. And he tells Bella, he's talking to, not Bella, I'm talking to the assistant guy, Yusef's guy. And he tells him, no live corpses for Bella, right? You cannot give her a live corpse, a live person to work on. And we see that the reason why, she walks over to one of the corpses that he has there, and she starts playing with the penis, right, the genitals. And then she's got like this, some sort of sharp instrument, and she starts stabbing the eyes, and she's laughing. He's like, haha, squishy. Oh my god. Oh, it was fucking hilarious, you know? She's just stabbing the eyes. And so it kind of like sets home, it like really hits home of like, hey, you cannot give her a live person to do any experiments on, because holy shit, she's just going straight for the fucking eyes on this guy. Like, pss, 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 pss. And then another scene that was earlier in the film was when Bella wants to go outside, and she does, and they agree. Like, she starts smashing his equipment in the room, and so they agree, okay, we're gonna take you outside. That his car, like, because it's literally a car, he doesn't have a horse-drawn carriage. He has a literal it's got a fake horse in the front, and when it's moving up, I didn't even notice that the horse wasn't moving. You just see the horse head, but then when it turns, you can see like it's a horse head neck mounted on front of this carriage that's mechanical. It's got like mufflers and shit in the back, and he's driving it. There's a guy on top, and he's driving it. the steering wheel is like a boat steering wheel with a little grip on the wheel and it's flat, or like a bus too. I think buses also have this. I guess it's, kind of helps with the steering. So those were two little things kind of close to the beginning of the film that I liked a lot. Okay, back to the France. Yeah, I like that she befriends this girl and we see a scene, and it feels sort of intimate, like she really grew a connection with her, that she's giving her oral sex, and it's like very good and magical. And after the fact, when they're just cuddling together, she explains to her, she has a scar on her stomach, and she talks about like, oh, that's a baby scar, right? I had to get an abortion, I had a baby, they had to cut that bitch out. And she tells her, oh yeah, mine isn't a baby, mine is because of my accident, God told me, right? William Dafoe's character told me. And fucking what else, she tells her, hey, you don't have to lie to me, you can be honest, I know it's hard to talk about, you can be honest with me. And she tells her, no, I'm that is the truth, I'm not lying to you, this was an accident, I never had a baby. But then she kind of questions it later, and we see that when she receives the postcard from, what's it called, from Willem Dafoe about he's dying, hey, go to London. That's where we get the London arc starting. That how do you call, oh my god, where was I? Train of thought here is going slightly off balance. She confronts him about it, right? Did I have a baby, right? Is that what that scar is? Because I was in Paris, I was talking to the girls, they got the scars too, and they telling me, oh, it's, we have a baby, now they got to cut it out from there, and so that's when you get your scar. It's and she even tells like the girl that she becomes really fond with, that you're not the first mistake, that the scar there is for a baby. But obviously later we learn that it is. We the audience already know it's for a baby, but she learns later, oh, okay, it's for a baby, that's why that scar is there. What else did I like? So like throughout the film we do get some scenes from back home in London with Willem Dafoe and the assistant guy, and we get the scenes that we get along with them are how do you call, they have a new Bella basically. And it's hilarious. And later when Bella comes home, she sees this new girl there, Felicity, something like that, Felicity. She calls him monster. She's like, oh my god, another one? Wow, really? And he's like, well, we missed you, we grew really fond of you, we missed you, so we tried to do it again. And I love that the lady that lives in the house, Willem Dafoe, that I guess is just his assistant, or like house sitter type person, that she comments to Bella, oh, I like this one a lot more. And she's smashing a piece of meat, and she goes to reach away from the meat, like, hey, enough of that now, and she hits her finger. Fuck. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, she likes her a lot more than Bella. What else? So we get those little scenes throughout. But yeah, she goes back to London, and I kind of already talked about some of the London scenes here. So I guess I'll do a quick recap of the whole general part of the film, which I consider, kind of his own arc, right? Or maybe that's why, London, because it's a nice chunk. I mean, it's a nice little chunk of this is Victoria's husband, right? They're gonna get married in the chapel, and fucking what do you call what was I gonna say? Fellinius shows up with Victoria's husband, and I guess to get a backstab with her, and he's like, oh, they're the devil creation, they did something to your wife, and that's why she's acting like this, and she's all weird now. And but yeah, she actually decides, he said, I'm here to take you back, and she agrees. She says, well, let me go. I guess she would say, let me see what this is all about real quick. And I like that she turns to the men both, or maybe even to Yusuf, and she tells her, listen, you're not going to stop me. I'm going to go, and I'm going to investigate this, and you're not going to stop me. And so, yeah, she does that. She goes, and she investigates with this guy, and she learns that the real Victoria and him, they were bullies. They were nasty motherfuckers. They were nasty people. They weren't nice. They were terrible. Because she asked him, like, what did the other Victoria like to do, right? What was it that she liked to do in particular? And how do you call she learns through his torment of his two servants. And like when he's pulling up to his crib, he even mentions, he pulls a gun out, he's like, I fear uprising, you know, and I feel like we're kind of on bad tensions. Yeah, no shit, dude, because you're an asshole to them, you're terrible to them. She realized, wow, the real Victoria was a piece of shit, right? Kind of not nice. And I love that when she tells him later, I can see why she killed herself, right? I can see why Victoria killed herself, why she did jump off that bridge at some point, just said, this is not worth it. Why am I living here with you? And this goes back to the scene I mentioned earlier where he's talking to a doctor about cutting off her clitoris, you know, and putting the baby in her. She overhears this, so she already knows what the plan is. So when he's got this bottle of gin, and he's saying that, hey baby, you know, just drink some of this, you know, just drink this liquor, put it in your system, you'll feel all good, everything will be all great, I'm gonna make everything better. Of course, she's like, hell no, what the fuck? I like that, you know, she shoots him in the foot, and then he like falls over. She brings him back to the house. This is like getting close to the end here. This is a nice way to recap. She turns him into a goat. We see in the operation room, and she says to Yusuf, I never felt at home before. You know, I always feel at home the most when I'm in this room, all right, this cadaver room. And it's also another touching moment before then where they, you know, God, where she gets to see God before he dies, right? Willem Dafoe's character. And she tells him, you know, he tells her, I'm so glad you're back. And that is that nice sweet moment before he dies. So that was sweet that we got to see that they died. He died knowing, okay, she came back. We kind of reconciled with, you know, you made it through. You did what you had to do there, and it's over now. You made it through. So yeah, she puts a goat head inside the general's head, right? And towards the end of the film, in the garden, because there's like a garden part in this guy's house, we see the general eating grass and stuff. He's making the goat noises. Felicity, she's being thrown a ball, and I guess her growth is gonna be a little slower. She's gonna get there, but it's gonna be a little slower. But she throws it to that woman, the whoever that woman's name was, or whatever, the hired help, the nanny in the house. I mean, she lives there. She must be that she lives there, like, you know. Maybe it was even God's wife. Who knows? But yeah, he throws her. What was it? Throws her the ball. Oh my God, where was I? And she catches it. She catches the ball, and so that was sort of a nice ode of like, oh, she's progressing. She's getting there, and they get the gins, and they say, Lady Jin. And then he comes up, and I like that toward at the end of the film. It's it's Belle, it's a Yusuf guy, it's the French brothel girl, it's the, you know, obviously the other two that I mentioned. Basically everybody in the family's like at the house enjoying themselves, and she says to Felicity, hey, go get the water. I guess get the water for the general. You know, you probably use some water. And so they do that. She's like happy to go get water for the general, and that's kind of how it ends, right? Ends about there. So like on this unhappy note, some things to note that I just remember now: the animals, the God, right? The William Dafoe's character, he's got pets in the house, and the pets are like mixed matched pets. It's fucking duck head on a dog's body, a dog's head on a chicken's body. Yeah, it's weird pets. I love the weirdness of the film. I love how weird it is. Like I said, I love the set piece, the set design. I love how it looks odd. I like that the music fits it. The speech patterns and how we see her progress in her speech, how she progressively gets better at talking. And there's even a scene where Felanius tells, because she starts reading books because of her new friend. They introduce her to books, so it improves her speech. And Felanius even mentions this to her, like, now that you're reading all these books, you don't sound like how you did before, all cutesy. Now you sound more proper. I'm not really liking it. I'm not fucking with it. And he throws the book, and then their friend hands her another book. He throws that book over the ship. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I love the weirdness. I love the end credit scenes too. I love that I didn't realize this. They did this in the beginning of the film, and I didn't realize in the beginning. But they put the people's names repeated on the square. I like that whole. I like how they did that. How they did the opening titles. Now that I realize after the fact with the end titles, where they put their names, and they just repeat it, and it's like the line goes in a square on the screen of an image, a still image of something. And then even when they did like kind of traditional credits, where it's just words plastered going top to bottom, they still had like the nice weird images, and the font was still interesting. Yeah, I like how they built it. I love and the music is nice too, because the music even fits kind of the weirdness of the film and stuff. Yeah, this is probably maybe my longest video. It's 40 minutes 30 some seconds, so we'll end it here just so it's kind of in a nice sweet spot. I liked it a lot. Weird Things gets a 10 out of 10, I guess. 5-star, 10 out of 10. I liked it. It's a film that I can see myself watching again, especially as like a nice background noise where I'll occasionally look up to see what's happening and I remember fondly that one scene or whatever. Yeah, that's it. There's probably some more things I can think about that I liked, but this video is already long enough. So if you wanted to listen to this, thank you, and bye.